Hi, this is David Rowland. This is part 4 in my series of dieting plateaus. I think the first thing that we spoke about was why dieting plateaus occur and what to do about them. And then we talked real briefly about the opposite of a plateau. And what I wanted to talk about today was how do we how do we have the foresight to minimize the effects of a dieting plateau? So I just kind of wanted to give you about 6 or 7 or maybe 8 bullet points here that can hopefully help you in the future. Number one, have a plan. You know, and a lot of the points that I'm going to make are going to tie back to having a plan. And keep in mind that, so when I say the word diet, I'm talking about being in a caloric deficit, okay? That means taking in less calories than what we're burning on a daily basis. And the bottom line is this, that can't be totally and never endingly linear. All right, we got to change that up probably a lot more often than what you might expect in order to keep those gains, or in this case, those losses, those body fat losses rolling along. Okay, so we really need to have a plan. Under that heading, one thing that I think is real important is training blocks. Have segments of time where we are going to do X and another segment of time where we are going to do something different, Y. Here we are with the Olympics going on right now. And this is a great example. An Olympic athlete does not train year round how they're training for 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 1 week prior to the Olympics. These things are all very staged and moving, okay, with different levels of intensity. And we call these training blocks. And I really suggest that if you're going to go into a diet and have a plan, have a training block. So what we're going to do in that training block is maybe carve out a period of time where you're going to operate under that caloric restriction. Okay, everybody's a little bit different, but normally that caloric restriction time would be something like 6 to 8 weeks. And then we stop, and then we bring our calories back to a maintenance level, okay? Maybe if it's a newer person to dieting, maybe we can get away with having them drop 20 pounds and see what that kind of time frame looks like. But so that training block would be, hey, let's get you down 20 pounds. That should probably take about 10 weeks or 12 weeks. And then we're going to kind of reset, bring you up to maintenance and start again. So having a training block is really important. Another point to really kind of minimize a caloric deficit, to minimize a plateau is to only have a caloric deficit of about 200, 250, 300 calories under your maintenance level. So we want to keep that caloric deficit pretty minimal. Okay, and milk as much opportunity, if you will, out of that caloric deficit as possible. So we don't want this big drop in the caloric deficit. I'll give you an example. Let's say your maintenance calories are 2,200 calories. Like that's what your body burns throughout the given day. I see a lot of people that will go in a caloric deficit and they'll take it down to maybe 1,200 calories a day. It's way too low. That is way too low, and that is going to give you not only a plateau, but the plateau is going to be longer and rougher to recover from. Okay, makes sense? So we want that caloric deficit to be smaller. The next thing I want to talk about is, and this can really help me out a lot, and I'll try to put a graphic up on the screen, but strategic refeeds can really kind of squelch those plateaus and keep the fat loss going. A refeed could be 1 or 2 days throughout the week, and everybody's really different. Okay, everybody's really different about this and reacts differently. But a strategic refeed could be, hey, 1 or 2 days throughout the week where we're going to bring the calories up and or the carbohydrates up. Sometimes a refeed has to be a full week. Sometimes a refeed has to be a full month. And kind of getting back to my comments on the training block, once we're through that training block, that refeed then needs to be the next training block where we're bringing your calories up to more of a maintenance level. and kind of reset your body. And then we're going to go on to the next block then would be another block of caloric reduction, again, to keep that fat loss going. But refeeds are really important, and they have been super, super helpful to me as I'm trying to lose a little bit of body fat right now. A couple other big factors are and these are the tough ones, I think, try to reduce your stress and try to relax. Try to get better night's sleep. I tell you, if you do those three things, reduce stress, relax, better night's sleep, you will absolutely do better with minimizing the effects of a plateau. Another thing I would say is, and this can be contrary to what a lot of people might think, but lift heavy weights. Okay? Whenever you're dieting in a caloric restriction, the idea is to be losing body fat, but if you're not careful, you will also be losing muscle. In fact, you will undoubtedly be losing muscle. It's more of a question of how much, okay? How much muscle, how much fat are you losing? What's that ratio of fat loss to muscle loss? What does that look like? But by lifting heavy weights, we will minimize that muscle loss. And it is so important. It is so important to maintain as much muscle as you can through that dieting process in order to keep your metabolism as high as you can. Okay? So the more you're dieting, the greater the caloric restriction, the longer, if it's been more of a prolonged diet, hit those heavy weights. You need it to help you and rev that metabolism. The last point I would say is have a coach. I know what you're saying. Hey, Dave, you're a coach. You're giving me a sales pitch. No, just hear me out on this one a little bit. You know, I think we all have coaches for different aspects of our life. I mean, a doctor's a coach. You have a financial advisor, hopefully, as a coach. Maybe you have a business coach. But I think having a fitness and nutrition coach, someone that's kind of a little bit more objective, a little less emotional than what you might be, and maybe someone to even say, hey, we need to pump the brakes on this. I think you've been dieting long enough and we need to take a break. And the other thing is, with the people that I work with, I know the history. I know their entire dieting history over the last, several months and even longer in many cases. And I know how they react to refeeds. I know whether it should be, or I can take a better guess, because we're never 100% sure, but I can take a better guess as to whether it should be a 1-day, 2-day refeed, whether it should be a week or more, or whether we should just say, hey, time out. I think we did a great job with losing body fat. Now we need to kind of reset your metabolism for this next training block and get ready to start again. So anyway, I think I'm done talking about weight loss plateaus for a while. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Drop them below. If you need help with your weight loss plateau or your goals and your weight training strategies to help you achieve your goals, drop me a note. We'd love to hear from you. You guys have a great day. I'll see you.